Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave.
Welcome to Adventures in Collecting,
where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
Dave, we're back.
We are.
It's been like a weird sort of run of episodes, right? We did like a little Toys on Film. We had a couple of premium toyetic events, a couple of AIC newses, but it's been a while since we've had some guests with us.
Yeah, and I think speaking of premium toyetic events, we're not too far off from a bash in Berlin. Although we are very much stateside for this one.
Yeah, we are
this bash today.
We are not in Berlin, and neither are
that would be
guests.
Cool though.
I mean,
that would be awesome.
We do need to make that trek out to Germany at some point and like find where our family.
I was just
from.
in London and France.
Yeah, it's closer than I've ever been.
Coincidentally, right before Backlash, but
right before another premium live event. So I think we're laying it on pretty thick. Let's not bury the lead. Joining us on the show today, two returning guests. We always like to say all of our guests are some of our favorite guests, but two of our absolute favorite guests making their return to the show under the Mattel banner. For those in the know, wink, wink, nod, nod. We are joined by Steve Ozer and Magic Olmos from the Mattel WWE team. Guys, welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hey, fellas. How's it going?
Thanks for having us.
It's going good. Always a pleasure to have you guys. It
was awesome to finally have met Steve in person in Philly.
It's true.
Yes, finally. That's why I love WrestleMania. We finally get to meet each other and mingle in person.
I was in the middle of the ocean. Otherwise, I would have been there too. When I couldn't.
I'm glad you made it back. Are your arms tired?
Yes, they are. They're still tired. Really long swim. No, what I ended up doing was when I couldn't get tickets so we had tickets to WrestleMania in our cart on Ticketmaster, and when we tried to check out, it crashed. Dumped our tickets, and then I couldn't get a pair for the weekend anymore. And
so you immediately started swimming?
Sort of. No, instead
it's like when Forrest Gump just started running.
He just started running. Started
swimming. Next thing I knew, I was in Mexico. No, we booked like a revenge vacation. So what I was going to spend on WrestleMania tickets and like WrestleMania weekend, I was like, let's go on vacation instead because I'm mad. So not only did I not get to go to WrestleMania, but I actually didn't watch it until the plane ride back. So like we were like, and my daughter and I, we watch it kind of, I guess pseudo religiously. So we're sitting there on the ship, like knowing that it's happening, and we're like, did he finish the story? Do you think he finished the story? So like the moment we got back like stateside and had Wi-Fi, like fired up,
and then Cody finally said assemble, and
but like we're watching it on the plane on my phone, like fist pumping and like freaking out, like so it was still, meanwhile had a fun experience watching it.
And meanwhile, that was like the easiest vacation week, like few days where it was like I'm in charge of AIC. Oh wait, I'm at like WrestleMania weekend. Cool.
Yeah, you were not for one.
Easy.
When it came for content, right?
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot to talk about today with our guests, but before we jump straight into the WWE talk and the most important part, the Q&A, which we'll get to later on, let's address the shark in the room. Speaking of swimming. Before we jump in, Steve, tell us a little bit about what's going on with Street Sharks, relaunched to some crazy fanfare without the need of Vin Diesel even. Like, it just, like, immediately just took off.
It could have helped. I would have welcomed him back. But Street Sharks are back. It's the 30th anniversary of the original toy line. So we brought them back, and we've kind of given them that Motu Origin style treatment of upgrading the articulation. So now they're articulated at the legs, the knees, the elbows, the hands. But we've retained everything that everyone loved about Street Sharks originally, like the action features, specifically that jaw chomping action, and some of the other characters have, extra action features. Streets here actually has swappable hands so that we keep the articulation. He used to have those claws that would extend out of his fingers. But anyway, we revealed these back in March, I want to say. First wave went up for pre-sale then. Second wave went up for pre-sale time to San Diego Comic-Con in July. And yeah, you can get these at your favorite e-tailers as well as Target. It's so cool that they're back. They're amazing figures. Viscerally cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had so much fun with those when I was a kid, and just seeing them, like seeing those boxes with the cages like back on the shelves again is one of those
took me back
visceral moments, because those were so cool. They still are. They're still really cool.
Yeah.
So it's great.
And it's really cool seeing them back.
And the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive was really neat too, with the bomber jacket.
Yeah, Shark Among Us Ripster. And that jacket is just one of the sickest soft goods jacket for an action figure I've ever seen. A real zipper on it and everything. So hats off to Sam Pack, who designed that figure. And very cool to get to work with the team and go back and watch all those episodes again and try to, pick what we want to do from the original toy line or from content. Really cool. And then we had a great panel where we showed even more figures that should be coming your way early next year. It's exciting times if you were a Street Sharks fan, for sure.
Yep. And total shouts to the team on the soft goods there. Mattel continues to be like, leveraging all of those years of Barbie soft goods making into the other lines. Love to see it. You love to see it.
We got to steal that jacket style magic for our WWE stuff.
Absolutely. That thing's amazing. I was actually in a team meeting with some of the people from Street Sharks recently, and I had just finally seen them for the first time a couple weeks ago. And I was really blown away by how closely they looked to the previous ones, and how much nostalgia I got immediately looking at them. But in the team meeting, I said this. I was very quickly corrected, saying, no, these have been improved in every single way. The articulation's better, the material's better, everything about them is actually better than they were before. But somehow they still managed to capture all of that nostalgia and the exact feel, and just holding them in your hand feels how I felt playing them as a kid. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they even have drop down hips. You can't really see it much on. Yeah, you see it there on Slam.
Yeah,
improved in every way.
Nice.
Awesome. Very, very cool.
All right, so Magic.
Yes.
In the modern wrestling figure era, you are the first designer to have now worked at the two largest American pro wrestling companies. How does it feel to be back at Mattel, and what takeaways do you have from your time away?
It's amazing to be back at Mattel. Absolutely. It's always been a dream to work here, and then having had that shot back in 2017-18 to work with the WWE team, being gone, I was definitely longing to come back one day. I'm super excited and grateful that I got the opportunities that I did get to do my own thing and still work in the wrestling space and be able to put my thumbprint on that wrestling world in the way that I have. So it's really exciting to be back. I feel like I have so much more knowledge, more confidence, and just I'm more eager to get started here and really dive in even more than I have been, and kind of put my thumbprint back on this one and improve the L line and WWE and try to contribute to this history and this legacy. And I definitely feel like I'm pretty sure I'm the only person in the official capacity to do both companies, but there's been people in unofficial capacities doing vendor work, something that have done great stuff for us, both companies. So
there's somebody else too.
Yeah.
I won't say his name, but he's a very good person, and he also kind of did both. One of the unsung heroes of the line.
Dan Friedman, he's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it is Dan, but there's somebody else who maybe you're not thinking of who did both lines.
Okay.
But it just goes to show, when collectors or fans want to talk about a war, it's just on the wrestler side of things, the wrestlers are all friends with each other, and so were we. You know, it was just like this group of friends who was just making wrestling figures across every company. It was awesome.
It's really cool because like at my previous company, there was people that worked at Toy Biz who did WCW figures.
Yeah.
And coming back here, there's people that worked at Toy Biz that did WCW. People that worked at Jack's at my old company. There's people that work from Jack's here. Like wrestling, once you're started doing it, it feels like you really never leave. The people who've been doing it for 20, 30 years are still doing it now. Pretty impressive.
I think one of the other cool things too is like, you know, with the just the time gap between the last time you were at Mattel and now, and what you were doing in between, you're now getting to kind of take a crack multiple times at talent, you know, kind of across the span of their career. You know, like, you know, just throwing the name out there because he's so kind of prevalent everywhere. But CM Punk, you know, like you've kind of almost followed his his trajectory, right? And you know, some of your finest work has been on that athlete, and I'm really, and I know I can very clearly speak for Dave on this. Like, we're excited to see what you continue to do with him going forward.
For sure.
Yeah.
I remember Survivor Series last year when he debuted. I was so pissed. I was like really mad. I was like, I did. He went back. Like, damn. Like, I was so mad about it. And then now coming here and like seeing the actual like finished version of that figure, like pretty close. It's like so awesome. So makes me feel better.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation with you about how Cult of Personality might have been ruined for you. But now you get to enjoy it again. So yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's awesome to see, you know, to see that kind of family vibe across the industry, and we see it, you know, with all of the people that we've, you know, had the opportunity to chat with over the years. It's great, like when one of those San Diego Comic Cons or something like comes up, and we get to see pictures of like everybody out to dinner, you know, across companies, across different brands. It's just it seems like a really cool, you know, industry experience and kind of family. So it's nice to hear that too.
We're all just fans at the end of the day of everything.
It's true. Fandom.
It's a really small industry too. Kind of weird, like super small.
Fandom drives everything.
Yep. And it's certainly like, you know, it's, we always keep saying it, and it always feels like it's like, well, at some point we're not going to be, but it's like literally the past 5, 6, 7, and who knows how much more in the future is like the best time to be a wrestling fan and the best time to be a wrestling toy collector. Like,
yep, so much good stuff out there. And speaking of good stuff, over at Mattel, you guys have been innovating pretty quickly over the past few years. Things like, you know, pinless joints, bringing butterflies to, you know, certain female talents, and of course everything that you've done with the main event line, that is #anything-but-basic. But you mentioned during your chat with Ringside that we're getting new ankles and feet on the figures. What kind of articulation can we expect from that kind of re-engineering?
Let me see. I think yeah, he's got them. So this is the made to order CM Punk figure. He's got an example of how we'll be executing the feet from now on. So you'll see that there's a pin that comes out of the bottom of the ankle that inserts into the shoe or foot. So that gives, of course, the back and forth motion, but as well as the 360 swivel here. So much improved, and it's flush against the ankle now, or lower leg, whereas there was a little bit of a gap before to allow for that rocker ankle. So really huge improvement here for the elites, and ultimates as well, and pushing them towards, you know, modern action figures even more. So really excited about, you know, the posing possibilities, because now you can get a wide stance and still have both feet flat on your surface. So very cool, very excited about that. A long time coming. Some of us were pushing for this for a while now, but you know, we kind of focus on one innovation a year typically to invest some tooling money in, and now is the time to upgrade those feet.
Well, I gotta say, you know, I called it out before, but these main event figures. So I was able to score the Chase Eddie the other day. Oh my God, what a like a huge deal because it just makes these so much more versatile. Like in general, like they can now kind of like play with the elites, which is great. So love to see the level of innovation there.
Yeah, and what's cool there is it's not just what you would think on the surface level of the leg articulation improvements, but we looked at what other manufacturers were doing, even within Mattel, and there's that swivel on the thigh as well. It's not a thigh cut swivel, but there's a swivel on the ball that gives you even greater range of motion. So we really wanted to maximize what we were doing there to give the most play and posability.
Those main event figures, honestly, coming from the outside in, like those are amazing, especially for the price point. The team does such a great job with all of those, especially now with all the articulation improvements. Just really next level stuff.
Yeah,
really incredible.
And the swappable hands and heads and stuff. The possibilities are endless. Because like if you have an Ultimate Eddie and you want him on, to change expressions on this gear, you can, pop the head and put the ultimate head on and change those expressions. So I mean, it's amazing. I love that. I feel like Motu Origins did a lot of like firsts for Mattel and kind of really with the WWE Motu line, and then the WWE Superstars, and kind of that pop and swap ability that's like unadvertised, but everyone kind of gets it. It's so great to see that.
Don't tell anybody.
It's so great to see that moving across into more of the WWE stuff. So kudos.
Yeah, I have Katana and Kaden and Maxine, and I mean they're just great. It's a delight, like getting those kind of together now and getting them posed and trying to figure out where are they going to go here. It's
really happy with how Maxine turned out, especially out of everyone mentioned. She's
probably one of the best main event figures so far.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep Eddie in my shimmy pose. That's so. We saw a big set of reveals at WrestleMania, and an even bigger set of reveals at San Diego Comic-Con. To both of you, what are some of the figures you're most looking forward to seeing out on shelves and in the hands of collectors?
What do you think, Magic?
The obvious answer for me is the Ultimate Rhea Ripley. That thing's amazing. It's really incredible what they were able to do with that. And then a new ring looked awesome. Great to have that update there. Those rings are incredible with the way you build them and like the wood and all the like innovations there. It's really fun, really good stuff.
I think for me, the Money in the Bank CM Punk, because I know how badly so many people wanted that figure. Steiner Brothers, that look for them, I wanted to make happen, and I wanted to make it happen as Ultimates. So I think those people who were very vocal about, why is it taking so long? I hope it was worth the wait, because, we wanted to do this a specific way. And I think we did them right. And there was just so many great figures.
Those Steiner Brothers, I just put the jacket detail, the fact that like colors are different, and it's such a weird, subtle detail that I don't think a lot of people would notice. The fact that it's there, like one's brighter, one's duller, like that's how it actually was in real life. That's amazing. That's just so like really good authenticity there.
Yeah, great eye from Bill McKenna to catch that they were actually different jackets. And the sleeve length as well, how far the yellow goes up is different on each jacket. And the Papa Shango Ultimate Warrior, not Coliseum, but sort of Coliseum home video-esque inspired packaging to go along with that. Very cool, like very, very memorable moment for fans who were watching during that period of time of the black ooze and the curses that were happening to Ultimate Warrior. And I love trying to get out like the wacky Ultimate Edition figures whenever we possibly can. We got Doink Out Gobbledygooker, and now we got Papa Shango to go along with the wild gimmicks. So very cool, very exciting. I think that was one of the talks of the show as well for us.
So last year we saw the Gobbledygooker and Undertaker set kind of in that two pack, technically 3-pack if you count the egg, right? and this year the Papa Shango and Ultimate Warrior one, and both were Amazon exclusives. Is that kind of like a yearly plan at this point to do one of those? I don't want to call them wacky because I feel like that makes them like less awesome
An
than what
old
they are,
school
but like
grudge match or gimmick.
deeper cut, gimmicky
Deep cut.
packs. Yeah.
Yeah. Paying some love and homage to the great gimmicks. So I think the hope is that could be an annual thing, but these need to perform well, or maybe there's someone on the Amazon side of things, or someone at Mattel that just has a different idea, and that could cause it to change. But I mean, if sales are great and it's overwhelming, why pivot away from it, right? So let's try to make these packs a success, and we can try to one up ourselves next year, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of those gimmicks that deserve a chance in the spotlight, we've had the Goon, we've had Zodiac, we've had the Sultan, all on our shelves in the recent past. Speaking of things that were not on anybody's San Diego Comic-Con bingo card, Make a Difference Fatu was definitely not on ours for sure. What led the decision to bring another short-lived, memorable character like this to the line? And I know you were just kind of alluding to it a little bit, but is that something even in mainline series that we could expect continue to see and kind of see more of in the future?
Yeah, so you mentioned a few names. Goon, he was mainline collector's edition, but still mainline, and Make a Difference Fatu will be mainline elite as well.
Okay.
So we have access to talent and all of their gimmicks. We were doing Who in the Legends line. So if there's Who exactly, if there are ways we can get them out that make sense, that we know will have full sell through, so that we can keep waves flowing out. We're absolutely going to explore every look possible, every gimmick possible that you can think of. And we have our Legends list from WWE, and they're helpful with putting aliases in a separate column on that Excel document. And then if there's some that they don't list, I'm adding those names of like, oh man, okay, got Neidhart, we've got to do Who as well. So yeah, I mean, it was just time, right? Time for Fatu. There's a wave. It's actually going to be all Samoan superstars. And Bill got very excited, and it was just the perfect moment to pull the trigger and make that figure.
So will he have the jacket?
He will have the jacket.
Yes,
it's awesome looking. We saw a first pass at the soft goods just the other day, and I'm sure Bill and Magic will finesse it and perfect it.
So you mentioned that it's going to be an all Samoan wave. Is it going to be a normal like elite whatever number, different packaging, or is it just kind of just
no? It's just a normal. It worked out that way, right? Samoans happen to be hot in WWE right now.
You don't say.
So it wasn't very difficult to put a wave together that was all Samoan.
So there might have been 2 other renders that were shown at Comic-Con that are in that wave?
Possibly.
Okay.
Good.
I will say this too. And I remember talking to Bill and I think Robert and Ringside John at WrestleMania. And I was like, I popped the biggest for when I saw Who in the display case. Like nothing else. I'm like, is that Who?
I think that was the collective reaction. And that's what we want. We want people to be pleasantly surprised by what they're seeing and think like, even though I say we'll do anything and everything as long as the talent is available to us, you still think they would never have done Who, and we're doing it, and they would never have done the Gobbledygooker or the Goon or Make a Difference Fatu. But that's fun when you break those reveals out. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah, and anytime you hit that new gen era, for me it's just like right in the cockles of my heart. I will jump at the opportunity to add any new gen talent to my my shelf.
Yeah. So
the greatest hits and from the vault lines have had the opportunity to bring sought after figures from the past into the hands of collectors that either missed out the first time around or just coming into the game. So what is the thought process behind deciding what wrestlers to include in these series going forward?
So we collaborate with the ringside team for the selections on From the Vault specifically. Whereas Greatest Hits, that's more of us in-house at Mattel making those decisions. And, we just look at a variety of factors. You need, sell-through on those waves as well. They're part of regular Elites. They're not a separate line. So if you look at the bottom of the package, Elites is a toy number, GDF 60. It's the same toy number on Elite Greatest Hits. So that's just a way for us to ensure we're not over shipping some of the other waves, so we can keep pumping out waves, moving on to freshness constantly. And we just literally can't make any more new figures. We're totally maxed out in what we can do. So we wanted to, bring out some figures from the past that are either hard to find, maybe they were never even released, like the upcoming Natalia, or just, go-to looks that some collectors would want to have in their WWE collections. So no set rules. We just evaluate everything that's been done. What do we think the desire is for those figures, and how can we upgrade them to make them even more meaningful and improved and modernized versus the original releases?
So the two things that always come up with this line are, at least like that we've noticed, in kind of our circles, are, people who have mint on card, versions of those first run figures, right? The quote unquote like devaluing of the secondary market, and also just the want for people to contribute to, like, hey, we would love to see this figure, we would love to see that figure, some sort of kind of fan interaction or polling with the Greatest Hits or Vault line. Gorilla Monsoon. Sorry. I had something in my throat there for a second. So what do you guys do to take that into kind of consideration with these lines?
I mean, you guys are already doing unofficial polls by calling those names out in every time we reveal a wave, or every day, period. Gorilla Monsoon, any name comes up. So we're paying attention to that. Obviously, I'm on social media often on my Instagram account, usually the most. I'm on the forums. I read the forums. I participate once in a while in the ringside forums. So, it's not like you're not being heard. And all that stuff is being considered. So if we can do it, we want to do it, or maybe we hear it and we're saving it for something specific. Like you mentioned somebody there, maybe I know, and I'm waiting for something specific for that. And that's not, I don't think it's a good fit for Greatest Hits perhaps, but you never know. You just keep calling out what you want. I don't think a poll is needed. Like, there's nothing you guys are going to say in a poll that you're not saying on a daily basis anyway, or that I also don't want.
It's very fair. Very
fair. Yeah, because it's like, you go back to the fan takeovers for the Ultimates, and it's like, well, why not all three? Like, but we've also seen some changes in gear. Speaking of like the Greatest Hits idea, some changes in gear and color variations in the Greatest Hits line, and for wrestlers to set them apart from their original releases. Bruno Sammartino, Ultimate Batista come to mind. What informed those choices for those color changes when bringing those molds back onto retail shelves?
Yeah, so a little insider baseball, like these are called carry forward SKUs. So these are SKUs from the past that we can do minimal changes to, if any changes. The elbows we can change because that's how we do arms now, with that modern double jointed pinless arm. For the deco changes, Bruno, that was just a color swap, right? Like literally just like change that PMS from the blue to whatever green PMS that was. Boom. And same for Batista. The logos, like all that stuff stayed the same. It was just like changing that base color of the plastic to a different color. So when we can do like little tweaks like that don't like throw a monkey wrench into the development system and create, a ton of extra work when everyone is already stretched thin, those are ways we can smartly plus things up without, breaking anyone's backs. So it's a way to make things happen in Greatest Hits, any re-release figures. What you probably won't see is like completely new deco, like Seth Rollins in flames, but then Seth Rollins in his mesh tights, like, you know, nothing extreme like that.
Okay, so we can expect, you know, a slight maybe color variation, or, you know, basically that's it. And like you said, like the upgrades to, you know, some of the articulation.
Yep, at least for now. At least for now.
Okay.
But if we're talking about greatest hits, I did see tons of questions about Miz specifically, because we did not show him
Yes.
at San Diego Comic-Con. So exclusively to you guys, this is the Miz that we'll be getting in greatest hits. So celebrating his WWE Championship reign, Miz with spinner title and his entrance jacket. There you go.
Very cool.
Nice.
That's your Miz.
Very cool.
The
Very
WrestleMania main event Miz. Awesome.
Gold,
Very
gold
cool.
boots, gold detail on his trunks. There you go.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Well, there you go. An exclusive
Yep.
reveal.
You heard it here first.
So anyone, I don't know if you guys had a chance to see our lists for the first half of the year, but both of us ranked the Ultimate Asuka figure high on our list. I think it was like number 3 for me, and it might have been like number 5 for Dave.
I think it was like higher than that. It was up there for me.
Yeah,
too.
top 5 for both of us.
For sure.
You know,
Easy top 10, but
just an absolutely remarkable figure. And there's been some other really, really great, you know, Japanese wrestlers that, you know, are either upcoming, like Muda and Kairi Sane, or the most recent Io Sky. But with Bull Nakano now getting inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, are we any closer to putting her next to Alundra Blaze on our shelves?
I wish we were. But I mean, first of all, you know, like specific talent, if we get them, we will make them. They signed them for us to make figures. They signed them to put them in video games. There's no like WWE signs them and nobody's going to do anything with them. So the second we get a green light that WWE has signed Bull Nakano, you know, Makina drops everything and starts his process. But I will say nothing further on Bull. I would love to announce that she's going to be in the Legends line, or maybe we do a retro or Superstars figure of her, but nothing yet. I've expressed interest to WWE. I've told them, you know, how many various figures we could possibly do of her, but you know, the ball is in those parties' court. Not just WWE, but Bull also needs to agree to that as well. So up to them to sort it out. But they know that we are interested, and that you guys are all interested.
Yeah, that would be also, a big
one. we live in a world where we're getting 3 great Muda figures. Like,
yeah, seriously. Oh my God.
At least.
This is Bill we're talking about.
3 we know about.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy, and you know, we know how much, you know, Japanese wrestling means to Bill, and it's something that you know, I think we all share an affinity for. So
absolutely,
very, very excited to see what's next there.
And Muda is a great one because, of course, if you're a Japanese wrestling aficionado, that's amazing. But like that WCW, NWA culture, like they, you know, Muda was a central figure for a couple of years there, feuding with Sting and
yep.
you know, with Gary Hart as manager and aligned with Terry Funk. It was an awesome time back then, and just seeing those images in a magazine, you know, as a kid was just like, who is this guy? Like, you know, exactly why he wore the face paint to draw you in. So, you know, there's a lot of crossover appeal with somebody like Muda and Bull Nakano should she come around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's can always go back to it. What a time to be a fan. So speaking of another great retro era kind of figure set, Stars from the Territory era was another awesome way to represent Legends in the line, and have its own kind of packaging and its own different flair to it. Is there an opportunity to continue that, or is that just kind of like a one and done 4-pack?
that theme specifically was meant to be one and done. If we're months out now, it's been on sale for a while. If you guys would have sold that item out day one, I could have went to leadership and be like, oh my God, we're onto something here. 70s wrestlers is where it's at. But I think we kind of knew the audience for it. When you move beyond mid 80s or so, it starts to become niche of niche and maybe of niche of niche. Not to say that those guys aren't great and the pack didn't do well. It did, but it performed to our expectations of that particular pack. And I think you can do other themed sets, but I think Legends of the Territory era specifically, that's going to be one and done. So very cool pack, amazing packaging. The titles included were awesome. Harley Race finally. Gorilla Monsoon in wrestling gear finally. Another superstar Billy Graham, and of course Muhammad Ali in his street gear so he can take that airplane spin. But we'll include those talent elsewhere. We have a Legends line. We can put them in mainline Elite. Who knows what comes around the pipe. WrestleMania Elites for early WrestleMania years. We'll see what we can do.
So from a retro era question to a retro question, the retro version of RIP from No Holds Barred is coming with a Winged Eagle championship belt. Will there be other opportunities for classic titles to jump back into the retro line?
I sure hope so. It was a long time coming to get a title out. I think that original retro ring, maybe Magic, because you were around when it was in development. That blue retro ring from 2017 or 18. I think they wanted a title with it, but for the price point, they couldn't get it in there. It was the cost was tight to get it at that $19.99 at the time price point. You remember that at all? Like how that got nixed?
I vaguely remember that, but that sounds about right. Like pricing wouldn't work.
But hey, when you have Hogan, who doesn't have lots of deco on him, and Zeus, same deal. And Sherry and Liz, they really have the soft good skirts. We had a little wiggle room in the budget there to get that title in. So it happened, and I want it to happen again with other titles. So fingers crossed.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
So, quick aside, mentioning bringing Magic back into the conversation for a minute. Now that you're back, thinking about the things that you've worked on in the past at Mattel and all the things that are churning out now, what are you most excited to work on there now that you can kind of dig your hands back in? We've talked about retros, we've talked about superstars, elites, ultimates, main events. Like what are you looking forward to most?
I think I got really lucky that the one thing I really wanted to work on, the Monday Night Wars, I was immediately told, "Oh, you're going to work on a Monday Night Wars." I'm like, "Oh, awesome. Exactly my wheelhouse." I was around for the very beginning of Ultimate, so seeing that grow and like how big it is now, how many figures there are, and how much they've advanced since I've been here, I'd love to take a crack at one of those one day. I know Bill's holding it pretty close to the chest, but I'll try to grab one and
You got some coming your way, Magic.
Yeah. So anything Attitude Era, all those things, and the current stuff is really cool. I really love the current product going on, the storylines. So anything I get a chance to do on the new or something like first time in the line, anybody like that would be cool.
Yeah, those Monday Night Wars figures are outrageously good. Outrageously good elites. Shouts to you guys for including the meme face with The Rock. I mean, that was
Mm-hmm.
chef's kiss. That was great.
And they're all great, like, and they fly, like,
Oh my god, yeah, you can't find them.
super popular.
I think the only one locally here in New Jersey that seems to be hanging out from the most recent wave is the Triple H. He's the only one that's kind of
Still there?
Still there.
It's actually impressive. Yeah, he was a last minute swap in, which is why the difference from the previous release was so minimal. It happens sometimes, you know. You gotta change things the last minute and swap the Ray, right? The Ray
Yep.
we had to swap out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's encouraging to hear that it's doing so well, and you know, we know that it's been difficult for people to find, partially because it's performing even better than what we had expected. So we're trying to, you know, ramp up production a little bit, slowly grow, not to overship anything, but ship a little bit more until we hit a sweet spot. And Walmart's, they've been fulfilling those pre-orders now, so we're smoothing things over from where things were a year or so ago with other exclusive lines. And I think that you're going to have satisfied consumers with the pre-order process, and hopefully finding them in store over the next year or so.
Yeah, and there's, with that line, I mean, there's so much to do with Monday Night Wars. I mean, like, there's
Mm-hmm.
so the well is deep.
It sure is.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Magic gave some wish list talent to me, and I'm pressing WWE to try to sign them. They were already on the list though, but anyway, we're trying to get more. And until then, we'll get all the variations of the talent we do have out, from meaningful dates and, you know, tertiary gimmicks that you wouldn't expect. Golga, great example. Like, we had Earthquake John Tenta under a deal, so perfect way to get a Golga out there. And there's going to be more.
Yeah, hopefully some more oddities
Nice.
to go with him.
Man, I would love that. At least Kurgan and Luna. Come
Yeah.
on.
I was gonna say Eric meant Luna specifically.
And well, actually, and Kurgan. I always just think back
Okay.
to, when I think of the Monday Night Wars era, I think of my Bone Cruncher collection, like that Kurgan with like the permanent claw with like the tips of his
Mhm.
fingers all blacked,
Yeah.
and you know, I think he came with the Jackal. At the time, actually, was that Kurgan figure, but
Yes, he did. Or did he?
I
Or
think
were
he
they?
did.
It was a
Yeah, he was-
2-pack, and
it was
then
a
a
2-pack.
single Kurgan with a soft goods tie-dyed shirt.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we had to buy both because we had already had the Kurgan with the Jackal, but we needed the shirt. You know, at the time, there wasn't this thing called eBay or Mercari where people were making shirts for wrestling figures, so you had to buy the other one. But yeah, like there are just so many. There are so many fun things that from that really, really exciting time in wrestling to make. So
Mhm.
Yeah, if we can unlock, I mean, just looking at Nitro alone, I mean, WWE, yes, of course, but then looking at Nitro alone, there's so
Yeah.
many great gimmicks and characters and,
Yeah.
you know, memorable performers to pull from. So we're trying, but even with what we have, there's lots of fun stuff to do that's untapped. So we're working on it. I know Magic's excited. We had our first lineup brainstorm session a week or so ago. Yeah.
Well,
Good times ahead.
if you want to make mutual friend and friend of the pod Ryan Ting happy, you know you got to get Glacier in there.
Glacier and Mortis
Yep.
would love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
So we
So
were talking.
speaking-
Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. I was gonna say we were talking about accessories. We ask every time, but figure we'd throw it back out there. Any movement on the reintroduction of accessory packs, whether it's like weaponry or more titles or anything along those lines.
Magic just hit me up. He's on your side. He hit me up this week, right? Maybe earlier this week, about accessory packs. It's just tough for me. It's tough for me to give up. Totally transparent with you guys. It's tough for me to give up a slot for a totally new developed figure, right? Like, do we make this CM Punk, or do we make a pack that has a kendo stick and a mop and a belt, right? Like, we make this, right? That's where I'm coming from. And like, I think from a leadership standpoint, when you present this, when I have to present this to leadership and I say, hey, we're going to do this accessory pack and everybody's been asking for it. And they ask me what the quota is going to be, and it's going to be low. They're going to be like, why don't you make CM Punk from his return? Right. So it's just like, look, if there's a way to do it that, I can get it through and it makes sense, sure, great. But it's definitely lower on my priority list because I think you would also vote for a new figure with new deco and new soft goods as well if you had the choice. It's just one of those tough calls you have to make. But we'll look to include all those accessories everywhere else possible. Those ring bundles that have a figure and accessories, and with elites and with the main event 2-packs, all that good stuff. But I do have to make those tough calls, and sorry.
Well, the thing that I'm really looking forward to too is those tag team packs that are going to be coming through Creations, like Imperium, Dudley's, Headbangers, like that. Was that kind of thought of as like, let's use this as a way to get these characters out, as opposed to waiting for like a Legends wave or waiting for something along those lines?
Well, we are still experimenting with Mattel Creations and what that could mean for the WWE action figure collector. So, we're trying a lot of different things there and see what really works. It allows us to experiment a little bit, like, the territory pack, retros living there, the ring, the scale ring, crowdfunding. So, we hadn't tried 2-packs yet, or tag team 2-packs. So that was something that was requested for quite a while, the return of Elite 2-packs. So we're giving them a shot on Mattel Creations, and we want to see how well these 3 sets do. Do they work better as 2-packs online, or would they have just worked fine if we released them as single figures? So we're about to find out.
Eric, I got one more before Q&A. If you got,
go for it.
All right. Another wildly successful can't stay on the shelves series so far has been the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles WWE crossover. That's something saw debuted at WrestleMania. Like, that was basically the announcement of it. Is there, potential for more series behind these first 2? And is there more like crossover potential out there, like a Masters of the Universe, like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, I know it's performing great. Everyone's really happy with its performance. I think that helps make the case to do more TMNT figures maybe down the road. It would have to take a break now because they're out the door at this point, right? We have to develop more figures, but there were lots of concepts for their turtles that were left in the cutting room floor that we could like literally dust off and get right back to work again with no changes even needed. So cool stuff, that we just couldn't make out with these first 6 figures. And as far as other, collabs or mashups go, like, so many things lend themselves well to WWE. I don't want to say what they are off the top of my head because I'll be, tipping my hat about them. But, there are other things, other discussions we constantly have about mashup opportunities for WWE. And, should any of those deals get done, we'll certainly keep pumping them out.
So Jessica,
Magic. I think this was another in another interview. Sorry guys, we do other interviews. We asked you what mashup you would want to see. You want to throw out a different mashup now, perhaps?
What did I throw out the first time?
I don't remember. I guess you can throw out anything now since we can't remember.
Honestly, the Turtles would have been my number one. Especially you guys, like, maybe when I was there, like 2015 or something, before I was there. You guys did those like excellent like Warrior Turtles and like Undertaker, and they're like, I think Playmates did actually. Sorry,
Playmates, yeah.
They're actual turtles as the wrestlers. Like, that was amazing. So to see this execution that the team did now, where it's the opposite, like figure as the turtle and like the cool DMX, like that's like really awesome. Obviously, I really love the Turtles, so that'd be my number one.
Well,
Maybe
I just want to throw it out there. Andre the Giant as the android body with Bobby the Brain Heenan as Krang. That's one. And Becky Lynch as April O'Neil. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. It's right there.
Like I said, stuff was on the cutting room floor, okay? We only had 6 slots that we could use.
Well, when
See, that's what happens, right? Like, I was talking about those accessory packs. The same thing happens here. It's like we got 6.
Kevin Nash's Super Shredder.
Look. What do you think the first words that came out of my mouth were?
Kevin Nash's Super Shredder.
Followed by, what are we even doing here if we don't do that figure?
Well, listen, like you said, when things sell really well and they can't be kept in stock and they're almost literally on fire, you get to go back and pick those things potentially up off the cutting room floor and be like, look, let us do more. These did so well.
But it's, as always, it's just one of those round of applause, standing ovation types of types of products.
Kofi and Xavier wearing the action figure gear in ring, just like perfect.
So dope.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the typical gear makers made the gear, and he did an outstanding job recreating it, and just having them wear it multiple weeks on TV was very, very cool to see.
So with that, Dave, I think we are ready for our Q&A section here. So, Dave, remind our listeners, our viewers, how can they submit questions for future episodes of Adventures in Collecting?
Okay, so friends, you're going to see a story on Instagram, and it's going to say who the upcoming guests are. And I'm staring right in the camera. I mean, all of you. You're going to see a story, and it's going to say, hey, Magic and Steve are on this week. Do you have questions? And there's a little box, and you tap on the box, and you type in your question, and it gets sent to us, and we put it in this section. And now we're going to read those questions and those, Instagram handles that have submitted those questions. So follow at AIC_podcast on the old Instagram, and you can join in.
Yep. And we fully understand, Magic and Steve, very active members of the community, but they can't possibly see everything and talk to everybody all the time. So we want to make sure that we take a moment on our episode here to get your voice heard. So we've collected a few questions here. The first one we're going to start off with is just
and so now that there's video, I can acknowledge the camera.
You can. You're doing great with this.
It's weird.
A fire round of requests. So we know we can't always tell
a lightning round
whether or not superstars are coming to the line. But as you said before, requests are important. So here is a quick list of requests from our followers for your consideration. GM Nick Aldis, Ultimate Drew McIntyre, Drew Carey, Kona/Evil Crush, the Legion of Doom, Chuck Norris, WCW Retros, Ultimate Bailey, 2005 Triple H, and Akira Tozawa.
I think none of us would have ever thought of any of those. No, all great. Some very easily accomplishable. Some we're working on. Some not signed to deals. Right. It just, if they're available, we're probably going to get to it.
Did I hear Drew Carey, like the comedian?
Yes.
The Price is Right.
Yeah,
WWE Hall of Famer, Drew Carey.
Royal Rumble appearance.
That
self-eliminated.
That request came along with the Chuck Norris one as a proposed companion to the Hollywood Elites line, doing like a celebrity line.
Oh, the celebrity wing of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, where it's like Drew Carey and
I'll tell you some insight now. Since it's years out and it never came to fruition. At one point, we were very deeply trying to do elite celebrity 2-packs with a superstar and a celebrity talent. And any pairing you can possibly think of was on our list, and we were trying to make it happen. But obviously, it didn't come to fruition. But great suggestion. Obviously, we're on the same wavelength. Maybe someday, whether it's 2-packs or something else. I mean, look, sometimes you just get them one at a time, and Johnny Knoxville makes an appearance in the Elite collection. It is what it is. Or other times you get Zeus, and you can, run with a talent like that. So we'll keep asking for talent, or pursuing options whenever possible.
All right, Dave, do you want to hit them with the first real question?
Yes. This looks like it is I am DJ Luis asks, how will the Ultimate Rhea come packaged? Will she be like Bischoff and Kane?
Yes.
Easy start there.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, perfect. At Hordak Grim on X asks, a lot of the thicker men have too muscled arms. Any chance Bill is working up a more body accurate set of arms for those talents?
I don't know, but I would pass that request on to, the man on the left of my screen.
So,
Dave?
yeah. Yes, Dave. Yeah, Dave.
Yeah,
you answer that question. No,
man,
Magic.
my arms are not muscled whatsoever. So I'm not your guy for that.
So more body accurate arms, Magic. That's what people want.
That's something I'd like to see too. I think like body accuracy is really pivotal. That's something I tried to do in like previous lines. The new stuff here I'm seeing, like there's more and more body accuracy. I think it's the Triple H Ultimate that looked just like Triple H. Like that was amazing to see. So I think the team's already been on that train and starting to move that direction anyway. So yeah, I think it's a good way to go.
Yeah, I mean even that the Ultimate Roman, the one with the 2 belts, like that torso change made such a difference in that figure. All right. Next question, Dave. Do you want to do this one?
At Cats Bulger 09 asks, is there any update on the unmasked Ray that was revealed for Monday Night Wars? And as we've now seen 4 of the Ultimates that were Okay, so this is kind of like 2 questions. I'm going to reread this. So first question, is there any update on the unmasked Ray that was revealed for Monday Night Wars? Second question, since we've now seen 4 of the Ultimates that were intended to be included with the Nitro stage as elites, will Big Papa Pump be getting the same treatment?
No update on Ray. The figure's canceled. If things change and we can release that figure, absolutely, it'll come out. But as of right now, it's a no-go. Ultimates from the Nitro stage. Scott Steiner is fair game. We're making figures of him. There's a Monday Night War line. He should absolutely be included in it. In what look? I don't honestly know yet. But I mean, chances are very high he's going to appear in Monday Night War and definitely elsewhere.
Now, I'm sorry if you've answered this question before, or if there is just a continued no answer for it. But is there any other insight you could give into the Rey Mysterio figure? Like, was in terms of why it was canceled? Not at this time.
No.
Cool. Fair. Just figured I'd ask. All right.
Yeah.
Next one comes from at Blaze Myers. When will the MSG first match back CM Punk Elite that was revealed be available?
It is a Top Picks Elite figure, and I think it's the second wave of the year. So, early 2025 at retail. But ringside, I mean, they get things early. There's a chance that they would get that in time for Christmas. I don't even know if they put it up for pre-sale yet, but, you want it early, get it at ringsidecollectibles.com. Use code, whatever your guys' code is, for 10% off.
AIC.
AIC.
Use code AIC. Yes, thank you. Dave, do you want to do the last Q&A here?
Last Q&A question. This one is from lots of people. They asked about various scale play sets, cages, entrances, Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber, etc. Are there any plans to do another crowdfund in the future of maybe just an entranceway or just a cage or something along those lines?
Well, at lots of people, Magic, you want to talk a little bit about this, and I'll chime in towards the tail end with more play sets and whatnot.
Super new to the team, but I mean, I personally would love to see some of this stuff come to fruition. I know other places I've been, it's hard to do these things because they're so big, they require so much plastic, so much initial investment. But Mattel Creations is something that's really great in the sense that it lets WWE team do these big projects and lets them do stuff that's otherwise like unobtainable. So if there is an opportunity for that, I think Mattel Creations is like the perfect place for it. And me personally, I would love to see some of these like world building pieces built. Just something you've never had before would be awesome.
Yeah. If you think about like main event scale, we'll call it, like for the kids rings and play sets, we have a bunch in our tool bank already. We have a modern elimination chamber. I think we have the original elimination chamber. We've got Hell in the Cell, cages from various eras. It's really like, what is retail willing to carry?
That War Games one was great.
Yeah, in a period of time. And War Games is still on fire as a set. And, our retailers still want to support War Games. So I'll be honest with you. I've been saying, hey, is it time to give that a rest and bring one of these older cages back? But they don't want to give up on War Games, because every time we just do a little sticker refresh on it, we're off to the races on sales again. And that's because, there's tons of new kids coming into WWE all the time. And, that play set and that match in particular seems to resonate. But I would love to get some of those other sets out. Specifically, Elimination Chambers is top of mind for me. Year round, whenever these conversations happen, I'm like, what about Elimination Chamber? So we'll see. But we do need a retailer who is interested in that set or a set like that to commit to it. Which brings me to crowdfunding, because the retailer is essentially crowdfunding these items, right? Even if it's already done, they have to commit to it. They have to commit to the minimum for us to go into production and sell it to them. But with crowdfunding, then the power goes to you guys. And we're going to do something else, whether it's crowdfunding or made to order. We're going to utilize that Mattel Creations platform to explore different types of play sets. We tried stages. One was a success, one was not. And maybe it's something else. Maybe it's a cage. Maybe it's an interview set. I don't know. But there's lots to pull from WWE, and you will see something like that on Mattel Creations again. Maybe even as soon as next year, if we can get our act together.
Yeah, one of the questions that was kind of bundled in there, somebody was looking for a scale elimination chamber, and I started to like twitch when I read it, because I was like, I would love that, but where are you gonna put that? Like that's
it's interesting because you get feedback. Feedback is dangerous sometimes in the wrong hands, because you see a lot of feedback of like the Nitro stage was too big. How big would that scale elimination chamber be, right?
Insane.
If the Nitro stage is too big. So it's really challenging to hone in on
even a Hell in a Cell would be enormous.
Yeah, what's big but not too big. Price points, electronics, no electronics. So, we're listening to all these suggestions and trying to figure something out to give you what you want. But ultimately, like, even if we did a poll, like, yes, something would win, but all the people who didn't vote for that winner are going to be bummed because they're, I wanted Elimination Chamber, I wanted Hell in a Cell, I wanted the Brother Love Show. It's really tough, but we'll do our best to make sure whatever we wind up delivering to you is at the very least exciting, and that the majority of you will hopefully want.
Yeah, I mean the cage related stuff, like the Hell in the Cell, or like the big blue, the blue cage, or even like the classic the cage after that, right? Like those, at least, like you could collapse. You know, you could take them apart, like put them out just for like a little bit, and then put them away.
And
Like
they go on rings you already have.
yeah, like there's you actually Steve, you said this the last time that you were on, is like when we talked about the blue cage, it was like, okay, how many new gen rings did we sell? Well, that's the only amount of cages that we could sell,
Yeah.
right? Like, because that's it. That's what's out
At a
there.
maximum.
Yeah.
And then how many of those people realistically would buy the cage? A fraction.
Yep.
Right? It makes it tough. But we have more rings out there now, right? We make a ring a year. They're all compatible. You know, just a little bit of a ring skirt swap or something, and you kind of, at least in the realm of good to go.
Yep. But exciting stuff, guys. You have
Magic. If you had to choose one collector playset to do, what would it be?
Of anything or just cages?
Any collector playset for WWE, no matter what it is, or item, collector item, high price point. You know,
I was just thinking about this, but I wasn't going to say because I wasn't going to say it because maybe you could actually do it one day. But I'll say it or spoil it. It'd be really funny and kind of really cool to see the Mankind like boiler room / backstage set, and you just feel like pipes and a bunch of breakaway components, but it's dirty, leaky tiles and dirty locker room, and it's huge, and it fills your whole room up, and you can't do anything else in your room.
Does it come with a
you have to hop over it to get to the bed.
Yeah.
Does it come with does it come with a special Mankind that has a rat too? You'd have to have the rat. So that's in there. You know what? I'm going to answer that question too. I would want the blue cage. That's the one for me.
Actually, Steve gave a really good idea. I want, like either, and maybe it's like a 2-sided thing, but I either want like the control center, the WWF control center, WWE control center, or like backstage interview, like somebody like trying to get me into the arena this Saturday night, and it's just Gene and whomever.
Do you guys remember the Kmart playsets?
Yes.
They were great. They were so great. That's the thing, when you lose retailers like Kmart or Toys R Us, it eliminates opportunities like that. But those were great. Maybe they can live on Mattel Creations. We'll see. Well,
and this is throwing it back to the line, but like if you think back to like even like the Heartbreak Hotel.
Yep.
That was effectively a Build-A-Figure.
Yes. A certain barbershop would be a great playset too.
I wish we had Marty.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing.
Not that it's unaccomplishable without him, but that would just be like the icing on the cake of a perfect playset.
Yep.
Yeah.
People could put an old Marty, very expensive on the aftermarket.
They could put some John Cone Build-A-Figure legs out the window.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Oh man! All right, so that you guys have survived Q&A. Thank you to everybody who submitted questions.
Everybody did great.
We have a tradition on the show. Both of you are aware of this from your times being on in the past, that we have a typical final question that we wrap things up with. As both of you are now repeat guests, you both have answered our standard final question. So Dave has prepared for you a alternate final question. So Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask our final question?
Why, yes, I would. So, your alternate final question, Steve, in this case, it would be your third final question. If you could build a 5-figure greatest hits wave going back in any figure, any series in Mattel history, who would be included?
Is that Magic's question too?
Yes.
Yeah.
You go first, Magic.
Why do I gotta go? I had more.
I feel like I've been making them. Jeez Louise.
The only figures that were made or anything?
Yes. Yeah, so it's a greatest hits line, so it has to be a. Yeah, they've got to be. Have made.
All right, I'll do it. The first China from the 2-pack with Triple H, but upgraded with better articulation. The Trish Stratus The classic Trish Stratus that we released a year or so ago, but with a new head. How many figures in the wave? 5?
Yeah.
5.
Paper Bag Cody. Man, this is tough. WrestleMania 3 Defining Moments Hogan. I feel like I'm cheating with that one.
That counts.
And a redo of the SummerSlam, was it 90 in Philadelphia? Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
So for me, there was the Macho Man you guys released. We had like the Kango black hat and like a chain neck, like a like lock on it. I really love that figure. I have it somewhere.
What up, Mach?
Yeah, I love that.
Be a man,
like,
Mach.
Drop a diss track on Hogan. Yeah, exactly. That one was amazing. That purple Mysterio, I think when he faced Eddie Guerrero way back when in WCW, where he has like the question marks all over him.
Yeah.
I really love that figure. I know it's pretty recent, but that's awesome. You guys did a bunch of really great Rey Mysterios. Well,
the most toyetic man on the planet.
Yep.
I guess then you have to go with the Eddie Guerrero from that with the mullet at that same time. Put that together, make that match cool. You guys have really done everything. Kind of like the hard part of this job, like trying to think of something that wasn't done yet. Trying to think like find an obscure great moment that people are going to resonate with, but hasn't been done.
Well, listen, if you want to include one, there's a really great Gorilla Monsoon figure that was really hard to find that had swappable arms.
Yeah. You know what's cool?
He's not including it.
No, he's not. He just laughed. He just laughed and said no. It's like, no.
It's not my era. I'm not particularly tied to him. The Macho Man, the Slim Jim, that would be really cool. Come back one day, update articulation. But it's so cool and exclusive. Maybe you don't want to ever touch it again. And who knows the license with all that going on with Slim Jim. So I've included 2 Macho Mans, a Ray.
And an Eddie Guerrero. You got one
Eddie
more.
Guerrero.
One more.
I would have said like Final Boss Brock, but like he's so new. But I just love that look. So I would say like the retro version of that in that same like Gucci shirt. Bring that back too.
There you go.
Barely different.
Yeah.
There you go. And there are your 5. Nailed it.
We got him.
Nailed it. Awesome. Well, guys, with that wraps things up.
It's one of those ones I was trying to think if I could come up with 5.
I can't. Oh man!
Look, shout out to Wrestling Figure Database.
Oh yeah!
What a lifesaver when we're doing these greatest hits lineups of just being able to scroll through there and check things out. But yeah, that guy doesn't get enough credit.
For real, yeah. Wrestling Figure Database, and also super nice dude. We've talked to him a bunch of times. Really, really good guy. Very passionate, and his site rules. And like just
it's awesome. I go to it a lot. I went to it when I was thinking about this question, to be honest.
Yeah, the search function on it, I mean, is just out of this world, and he's got stuff on there that I've never even heard of before, like wacky off-brand stuff. Like it's wild. It's a fun site to just go on. You know what? If you are listening to this and you have not been on the site yet, WrestlingFigureDatabase.com, search your favorite wrestler or your least favorite wrestler and go look at all of the amazing toys that you didn't know that they had. That's just do that. But with that does wrap it up. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. But before we say goodbye officially, please tell our listeners where can they find you guys on social media and where can they keep up with the latest WWE releases from Mattel.
You can find me at Instagram, magic.olmos. That's my Instagram. I'd be there. You can message me, yell me, do whatever. Yeah.
I'm on Instagram at Action Figure Attack and Twitter and X and TikTok Action Figure Attack. New WWE info. Tune into my account Action Figure Attack. Ringside Collectibles. All their social handles as well. and Wrestling Figure Database. They're on it. So get all the latest from those 3 sources.
Yeah, gotta say, you doing those reels for the reveals now,
Yeah.
thank you.
Excellent.
Like no shade on any particular websites, but certain galleries are very, very finicky on mobile, and that is just your reel of like the glam shots and the mint on card shots just makes things so much easier. So thank you so much for doing that for all of us, Steve.
All right. I'm glad I do that on my Saturday mornings when I should be sleeping in.
It makes make a difference, Fatu. Make a difference, Steve. That's this is make a difference, Steve. You're sitting there
That's
early.
my Comic-Con outfit for next year.
There we go. Well,
the next Elite Squad jackets, the chalkline jacket could be like the Fatu jacket.
There you go.
Aren't I supposed to get a jacket now with this amount of appearances? Wasn't that talked about last time when you were like, "Oh, we're going to present you with something"? It was a question about 5 figures, but I thought it was a jacket.
Yeah. So we have talked about jackets. It's not completely off the table, but budgetary constraints. Listen, sometimes it just things end up on the cutting room floor. That's just the way that it works.
Okay, man.
Well, guys, we're gonna say goodbye now. Have a great evening. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us, for showing off some new stuff. Magic, welcome back to the world of Mattel. We're excited to see what you guys do next. Dave, send us home.
Keep enjoying the wrestling, everyone.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer, Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.